Welcome to the Higher Great Help Podcast. This is a throwback episode to a live stream that I did discussing why it's a mistake to hire a social media manager first. So we're going to go into a new series. I hope you enjoy this. Tune in, take notes, and I'll see you on the other side.
Basically reshooting this video because for some reason when I tried to go live earlier, my audio clicked out, but it's just fine. So if you're new to me and you're new to this page, welcome. My name is Cena Martin Chandler. I am a team operations coach, and I help my clients to build and manage teams so that they can grow and scale their businesses, particularly their agencies, stress-free. And what we are talking about today is why I know in my heart that the biggest mistake you can make when you are hiring for your business or for your team is to hire a social media manager first. And what I mean by that is this: if you have never hired before, or if you're like restructuring your business, a lot of people had to pivot their business models over the last like 12 months or so. Over this last year, a lot of people had to make changes and pivot. So if you're in that place of like rebuilding, restructuring, or expanding your company, and you're trying to put a team in place to help you do that, I believe it's a mistake to hire a social media manager first. And I'm going to really explain to you why I know that to be a truth in today's live stream. So if you are here watching me live, please just comment and say hello so that I can welcome you and thank you for being here. Let me know what city, state, or country you are tuning in from. And if you're watching me on the replay, please put hashtag replay so that I can thank you for being here. And let's dive right into this conversation. So let me say this first as a disclaimer. There are some amazing, amazing social media managers out there, right? I literally just got off a client call with one of my clients who is launching her social media management agency. Super excited for her. I can't wait to see her do that. And there are some really, really good social media managers and agencies that are out there. So this is in no way a bash to those individuals. However, like I said, if you're thinking about delegating and you're thinking about, hiring someone to, like I said, help you grow, help you in your business, particularly if you're like in the beginning stages and you've never done this before, it's totally a mistake just to jump in and get somebody to manage your social media first. Here's why I say that. First of all, there's 3 areas that I kind of use to measure this decision before I make it for my own business and for my own team. And just for some background, so that you know, like what my experience is in this. I went to college for human resources competency. So I basically studied team building, team development. When I went back to college after I had my baby. So outside of that, and outside of like the formal education that I have around this topic, I also have been helping companies truly build their teams. And I really worked as like an executive assistant, not, the executive assistant, the popular title of executive assistant that you see now, where a lot of people are calling themselves executive assistants, and there are a lot of them coming into the marketplace. I was doing it like before it was a term and before it was popular for a lot of different businesses in probably 4 or 5 different industries. So I've really been in that place of helping people build teams, build structure, build operations for the last, like I would really say about the last 8 years. That's the role I played in a lot of other companies. However, now I'm teaching this in my own business. And this is the reason I can tell you that just jumping to hire somebody for your social media without having measured whether this hire or this, I call it a risk really, without measuring whether that's the next best step for your business, it's a mistake. And it's a very common mistake that a lot of people make in the industry, and a lot of different business professionals will tell you that you need to do first. I've also coached and told various people, hey, it's a good idea to hire for your social media. Let that be, you know, your first hire and who you work with. And I've also coached on that before. But in retrospect, and really going through like my own clients and what got them the best results, it wasn't by hiring somebody for their social media. It was actually the opposite. It was helping them to make those calculated decisions and helping them to really look at what's going to move the needle for them the most with their next hire or the next person that they put in position in their company. So let me show you how I come to this decision. That way you can run the numbers, do the calculations, and see what's the next best move for yourself. Okay. So the first reason the first reason I say this is a mistake to just jump the gun and hire a social media manager. The first reason I say that is because you don't know if that's the biggest area of leverage or opportunity for your business. That's number one. You have no idea if that's going to be the area that really moves the needle the most, right? So what you want to do is you need to take a step back, slow down, and really look and see what's the biggest area of leverage or opportunity for me. Like, where is that? Is what department is it in? Is it in the CEO department? Is it in my marketing? Is it in your operations? Right? Is it in your sales and sales, customer service, or is it in your delivery? Are you really struggling with your client delivery and producing projects on time for the clients that you have right now? So there's many areas you need to be paying attention to, not just your marketing. And I want to tell you in the next step how I come to the conclusion of what's the most important area in my business for me to make the next hire. And this is the same formula you're going to use to do this for yourself. What I do and what the next step is you need to do an audit of your time. And if you've already done this in the past before, do it again. Like, if you haven't done this in the last quarter, or you haven't done this since the year started because you've been so busy with launches and getting things out there into the marketplace, do it again. Just do it again. You need to do an audit of your time and what your daily workload is. And here's how I do that. If you want the app, or the app that I use to track my time on my like desktop or on my phone, send me a DM and I'll be able to share with you like some of the best tools that I think are out there that can help you do this exercise. But basically, this is what it looks like. So you need to do an audit of your time. Okay. And I recently just redid this for myself. So this is why I can speak on how eye-opening it is. And I also have all of my clients doing this right now, just so they can get an update of where they stand. So you want to download an app. There's a couple of them that are out there. Like I said, send me a DM and we can talk about this in more detail. And I'll recommend some of my favorite apps to you. But there's several apps you can download on your desktop. You can download them on your cell phone right out of the App Store, and it will basically track your workday for you over the next 30 days. So every step or should I say every website that you use to run your business, how long you spend on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on social media, how much time you spend delivering things to your clients. So if you're running some type of agency, maybe you have like a social media agency, or you run like a ads agency or something like that, depending on whatever industry you're in, the app will track how much time you spend doing each task for 30 days. And at the end of those 30 days, it will compile like a dashboard, and it will compile all of that data into a sheet that you can download, or you can get it in like an Excel sheet, depending on what app you use. And it will really break it down for you, like how much time you're spending on a day-to-day basis doing each task. So what you need to do is take all of that data and put it into a day-to-day workload tracker. Okay, you need to put it into like a day-to-day workload tracker. Whether you want to put this into a Excel spreadsheet, however you decide to compile that information is totally up to you. But you need to know what you are doing on a daily basis and make sure you put every single task that is being worked on over that 30-day period inside of that, we'll say, Excel sheet. 2 reasons you're going to do this. Now you need to identify, after you figure out what all of the tasks are, you figure out what all of the websites are that you use, you figure out how much time you're really spending on each of these items, right? Once you do that, then you're going to start to label it. Okay, is this work that is moving the business forward? Is this work that is moving our revenue and our profit forward? And is this work that's just filler? I call it filler work. Is it filler work? Stuff that's just wasting time. We're just spinning our wheels doing it, and it's not really progressing the business or the finances. So is it filler work, business work, or revenue and profit? And put it into those categories. Once you identify each task and which category it falls into, then you need to ask yourself, okay, who really needs to be doing this? So am I the one as the CEO that should be doing all of the marketing? And should I also be doing all of the client delivery work? And should I also be the one that's making sure the tech is working behind the scenes, fixing our tech when something breaks down, editing our calendars, like when our calendar crashes out in the middle of the work week and I have to get it back online so that the team can get access to it? Should I be the one really doing that? Right? All of those little tiny things that should be in your Excel sheet. Who should truly be doing these tasks? Is it you or is it somebody else? 9 times out of 10, you're going to answer that question and the answer is going to be somebody else. Should be doing a majority of those tasks that don't fall under your job description as the CEO, right? So once you figure out who should be doing each task, then you're going to list out those roles. Do I need somebody that's a chief marketing officer? Well, do I need to hire a bookkeeper? Do I need a tech assistant? Do I need a virtual assistant? Do I need somebody just to take care of social media marketing, creating the content, making sure it's scheduled, making sure it gets posted? Then you start to figure out what positions you really need for the business based on what that day-to-day workload and what your day-to-day tracking looked like. Okay, so that's kind of what the process looks like. Like you just pull apart all of the things that you're doing, all of the like chaos and all of the things that you have to do just to keep the business running every single day. And you start really figuring out what positions are necessary so that those tasks and those things continue to run. And you can start to separate all of your time you start to separate the business from being so dependent on you. Okay, so that's really like how you do that. Now, here's the point, and here's the reason why you're going to go through this exercise. So after you audit your time and your daily workload, you downloaded that data from the dashboard. You put all of that into a spreadsheet so you can see all of the tasks that are being done, all of the websites that are being used, all of the tech and the tools that you use to run your business every month, right? Then you figure out what category it falls in. Is it business? Is it revenue? Is it filler stuff that's just, not the best use of your time? Then you say, okay, who do I really need to do this work? Who do I really need to hire to do this work, right? Typically, people stop there. That's just like how you make your org chart. Now, here's where the way I approach this is different than what you may have like heard before. And here's where I figure out what I need to measure so that I can make the decision whether the next person to be in my organization should be somebody to manage marketing or social media, or is my opportunity best found in another position that I need in my company. And here's what you can do to find out that same information. So the next step to this is what I call an OTK blueprint. It's an OTK blueprint. And basically, let me see if I can actually show you guys this. This might be better on a visual. Okay, so what I do is I create a OTK blueprint. This is what I call it. Basically what that is creating my org chart. And let me just make sure you guys can still see me. Hold on. Oh, yeah, you sure can. Okay. Creating the org chart, which is what we just mentioned, what positions you need, who you need to be on the team long term so they can actually run all of the pieces of the company. So it's the org chart, that's what the O stands for, right? So org chart, and then I create team profiles. So after my org chart is made and I know who I want to really hire to get my company to whatever our 1 year goal is or our 3 year goal is, right? Then I say, okay, I know I need a chief marketing officer, I need a tech assistant, and I need a sales manager, just to throw some things out there, right? I know I need these 3 items. Okay, perfect. Now let me make a profile for each one of these people. And this is what we do when we are creating like the profiles for our ideal clients. So you know how you sat down and you wrote out every nuance of your ideal client, like what they like to eat in the morning, what their daily routines are, where they hang out online, what they, do they have a dog? What kind of dog do they have, right? Do they have children? So just how you went through all of that detailed work to get a profile out for your ideal client, you also need to be doing that for the people that you're going to hire. Here's why, and this is what I did when we were building our team back a few years ago in a whole other industry, but this is something that was so helpful when we went to go hire because we knew to the T the kind of person we were looking for. And disclaimer, you cannot put anything that is like illegal or against the laws where you're putting like what the race of the person is or any type of discrimination things. I'm not saying that. When I say put your team profiles together, I'm talking about their characteristics. Is this person extroverted or introverted? Do they like talking to people, or are they more of a tech person that loves to just be on the computer all day and loves to create automations and workflows and stuff like that? That's what I'm talking about. You want to create a profile of what is this person's skill set, what's their personality, and what environment or culture will they thrive in the most, right? So all of this really, really matters, having that profile of your person already kind of planned out, and you know the exact kind of person that you're looking for, so that when you go to hire somebody, they're a good fit from the very start. So that's the second piece. After you do your org chart, you need to make profiles for each one of those positions in your company, so you know what kind of person would totally get into the role that you need and dominate and knock it out of the park, right? So that's the second part. And then the third part of the OTK blueprint is to create, or should I say, figure out what the KPIs are. So your KPIs, Google what the KPIs are for the specific positions that you want in your org chart. So going back to my previous example, if you want a chief marketing officer, a tech virtual assistant, and a sales manager, well, go Google what's the KPIs for a chief marketing officer, or which KPIs, or just Google chief marketing officer KPIs, right? Tech assistant KPIs, right? Just Google it, figure out what those measurements are for that role, so that you can then say, okay, well, this is the performance measurement, or this is the, like I call it the vital signs, because the KPIs for your business basically is telling you what the performance, how well your business is performing or how healthy it is. So you really want to get like the vital signs of each one of those roles that you're going to need in your business. And that's what the KPIs will tell you. So once you get the KPIs for each one of your roles, now you know what you need to be looking for. And now you can sit back once you have all of this information in your chart, your OTK blueprint is done. Now you can sit back and say, okay, this is let's use the tech assistant, for example. Well, looking at my org chart, looking at the KPIs for each position that I have on this org chart, we're really struggling and this is just an example, we're really struggling as a company in the tech area. We have, the other areas are running pretty well. They can use improvements, but what's really slacking and falling behind, truthfully, is the tech area. And if we can get somebody in that role to update our tech, to make sure that, we are exceeding the industry standards, that we are up to par with our tech so that clients are getting their emails on time and their invoice reminders on time and blah, 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 whatever. Like, as long as if we can get our tech up to par, that will propel the business forward a lot quicker, and we'll be able to reach our goals, or, like whatever your OKRs are. I'll be able to reach those objectives and those key results as a company a whole lot faster if we put a tech person in the team over the next 30 days. So then you can start to see where your holes are and where your gaps really are, and what you need to take advantage of, because that's where your greatest opportunity lies. So this is what I use to measure whether I need to bring a social media manager on, or what position we need, period, what we need to bring onto the company, who we need to bring into the company next, period. Like, this is the way to do it. And if you haven't done this process, you do not need to hire a social media manager. You just do not. You don't need to do that. So that's the way I really figure out who we need to put into place and what we need to do next. I would not suggest you just jumping out there and getting a social media manager because you think you need one. That might not be the place where your money is best spent. That might not be the best risk for you. You may have a much higher percentage chance of success, and you will have a much better calculated risk if you go through this exercise like I just showed you, to figure out where the holes are in your company and who you really need to hire next. If it is a social media manager and you go through this whole process and you still come to the conclusion that hiring somebody to take over social media will free up maybe like 60% of your time, and that'll give you, who knows, anywhere from like 20 to 40 hours back a week in time that you can then go and work on other important parts of the business, then by all means, if that's where your greatest opportunity is, and that's where your biggest potential for leverage is, then run for it. Hire somebody for social media management. Absolutely. But if that's not where your gold is hiding, and that's not where the treasure is at for your company, I suggest you don't do that. So that's just my take on this. This is why I say I don't think you need to just jump and hire a social media manager to begin with. I hope that makes sense and that helped you today. So if you want to learn more about how my team and I can help you to build out your team, manage your team, really create that foundational structure for your business on the back end so you can grow a company stress-free, then I want to invite you to apply for my program, Hire Great Help. You can learn all about it. The link is above this video. Just click the link and go check that out. You do have to fill out an application, and I will then send you a extended training that really goes into depth of, what our process is, what our method is, and how we'd be able to help you with your particular company. So go check that out, put in your application, and we will be in contact with you within 24 hours. So I look forward to speaking with you soon, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.